Hi, everyone. You are in for such a treat today. You are watching the raw and uncut version of today's Sellout Show, where we're tackling both of our favorite topics. I know Dianna chews this and eats this up for breakfast, and I love this topic too. So I'm not going to steal her thunder. Dianna, tell everybody what we're going to talk about today.
Well, today's super fun because we have Sellout Show audio visuals to describe how to make your prospect successful on a cold call.
Yes.
I know.
If you hate cold calling, if you love cold calling, if you want to be better at cold calling, watch. Here we go.
If you hate being cold called, watch.
Oh, that too.
All right.
All right, we're recording.
We're recording. Good morning. Welcome back from your vacation.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. It was we spent probably 4 or 5 days at Lake Michigan. The sand dune was warm. The water's cold.
Yeah.
But I got in it anyway. My kids, I couldn't drag my daughter out of it. It was, on one day, it was like, take your breath away. Well, you live on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, the dogs swim in it all the time. When it's 28, the dogs will swim in it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, well, they got fur. I got fur. But it was great. And so what's really funny is that you're around the bottom of the lake, but you probably have the same thing. So in Memphis in the summer, sunset's around 8:25, 8:22, 8:20. And so on Lake Michigan, you're so close to the central time zone. They're in Eastern time zone.
Right.
The sun doesn't set till like 9:22.
Yeah.
And so it's almost 10 o'clock at night and it's daylight out. I'm like, hey, let's go to Target. And my friend's like, Target's closing in 5 minutes. But it just made it so enjoyable. It was wonderful. I mean, it was like 82 degrees with, barely any humidity and a breeze. And, come back to Memphis and it's 96. The heat index of 105, 106. It's just miserable.
My God. With a 1,000,000% humidity.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was good. Vacation was good. It was awesome.
That's good. Well, I've got some good news for us. So next week, our friend from DiscoverOrg is going to be joining us, the one who I discovered. He wrote a blog article about this cold emailing that he does, and he has this 5, 5, and 5 principle that he uses for cold emails, and I use some of his stuff, and it works brilliantly, and he's just fabulous, and he's definitely a boots on the ground, phone in the hand guy who's just making it happen. And so DiscoverOrg said that he could come on, so I'm really excited about him. And then our good friend Eric Quanstrom has a superstar closer on his team that I was like, because it's not exactly a one-call close, but she makes these complex long sales kind of go shorter. So I'm really intrigued to see. It's all about pre-call planning, which I know you're a huge fan of.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's going to ask her if she wants. Who wouldn't want to come on the show? Who doesn't want to come on the show?
I don't know who.
I don't know who. So, and today I want to talk about cold calling, and I want to kind of start the video while people are still watching. Stay with us. If you're an amazing cold caller, I want you to put comments in our comments, and we'll give you a ring and see if maybe you want to come on and do a cold calling episode with us sometime.
Yeah. Cold calling is, I think it's an art. I love a warm call, introductions, referrals. Those are so important, but sometimes you just have to take a stab at it, and you've got to call people. Some industries you don't have a choice. So cold calling is alive and well. There's smarter ways to do it. There are certainly smarter ways to do it than what we used to do. I mean, I'm of the day and age, maybe I'm dating myself, where you'd walk into a building and you'd go to the marquee and you'd write down all the businesses and you'd ride the elevator up and down until security caught you and threw you out.
You've been
that's a badge of honor.
Security?
Well, asked to leave. It said no soliciting. I'm like, well, I'm just, checking doors. I don't know what I said.
I'm remodeling, and I was just curious how people were doing their doors. Okay, we have got to get a picture of your front door, because I think it's so funny that the selling agency's front door says no soliciting. I think that is hilarious.
Well, if you're bold enough to ring it. Well, and actually, the funny thing is that, if we're most neighborhood canvassers don't always ring the doorbell, but if you're out and stuff like that, that's when they get you. So if the garage door is up, that's a whole other story. I have a great story about that.
Do tell me
Okay.
a great story.
So this is a great material for a blog. So I came home to see these guys walking down the street carrying like a clipboard and like a jug of something. And I was like, what are they selling door to door? And I pulled in the driveway. My husband's just kind of shaking his head laughing. And bless his heart, he saves these little gems and stories and emails and stuff like that because he knows that it's good to write about. So he said, well, these guys came up and they're selling a cleaning product. And they said, hey, excuse me, sir, can I have a moment of your time? And they've got their script. They've got their binder strategically laid out with like neighbors' checks clipped to it to show you that your neighbors have been purchasing it, right? And they have their spiel and they're going along. And then they look in our garage and they see the racks. We have racks of cleaning products. And they're thinking, oh, man. And so they said to my husband, well, oh my gosh, sir, you know what? This one cleaning product could replace all those bottles. You wouldn't have to buy all those bottles of things. And so they did a little sample and he's like, no, I'm good. I'm not interested. And I started laughing because they didn't ask the right question. Now, if they had said, why do you have so many cleaning products? They would have learned my husband loves to buy cleaning products. He loves that this one has this smell and that this one does this specific thing and that this leather conditioner does this. And if they had known that, they could have said, well, maybe you can add this to your inventory and picked a niche that he didn't have or something. But they just assumed that he had so many and that he'd be happy if this one replaced it instead of, replacing all his cleaning products would rob him of some joy. So
and adding another one would have given him a new, renewed sense of joy.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. They didn't ask the right question and they made it a wrong assumption and walked away empty-handed. I don't know if they would have bought it anyway, but they certainly could have changed the tactic and how they approached the sale.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you got to ask somebody why they're doing something before you challenge what they're doing. Right?
Yeah. Why are you doing it the hard way, sir?
I know. When was the last time that you enjoyed it when somebody walked in and before they even got to know you at all told you that you were doing something wrong?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't go over very well.
So we're going to talk a little bit about cold calling, but well, maybe we should what do you think? Should we just kick this off?
Yeah. Oh my God, I have to think fast. Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome everyone to the Sellout Show, where we are always sold out. I am Dianna Guerin, and I am the irreverent sales girl, where my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shawn Sandy, Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans. Because selling like a door-to-door salesman, who doesn't ask the right questions, will have you walking away empty-handed.
You're carrying that product home with you.
Yeah. You got to lug a gallon of, and where did they keep? They must have had a car around the corner. Where did they keep the extra inventory?
Maybe they only had one and they hadn't sold any yet.
Anyway, all right. Okay, so one of our favorite topics.
Yes.
This is not everyone's favorite topic.
Well, it's everybody's favorite topic to debate, it seems like. So, but here's the reality. So, let's just talk about what I mean by cold calling, right? I mean, I'm not talking about open up the phone book and do ice cold calls, although what we're going to talk about would completely work with that as well today too. But, everybody is in a different industry. And, I think we kind of think that everybody's in B2B tech. They're not,
No.
None of your clients are. But what I mean by cold is that somebody's not expecting you to interrupt their day. Mm-hmm. And have a conversation with them. So it doesn't mean that you don't know a little bit about them. I mean, you're a fool, as Lee Barlow would say. You're a fool if you don't go look somebody up. If somebody's on LinkedIn or somebody's on Facebook or somebody's on Instagram, it's like having the opportunity to walk into their office, flip through their magazines, see what they're reading, look at all the certificates on their wall of where they've graduated, what they've done, what they're proud of, what people think about. I mean, you're an idiot if you don't look something up before you're going to call on somebody that you don't know. I mean, come on.
You'd be surprised how many people do. We talked about this before. One of my pet peeves is when Specifically, this happens a lot when I'm downloading a demo or a white paper or an ebook or something for a technology company, and it's usually I'm interested in the content. Sometimes I'm interested in their product, but I'm more interested in the content. And they ask you for your email, they ask you for your name, they ask you for the company name, they ask you for how many employees you have. And then, 5 minutes later, you get a call from some poor, SDR schmuck or whatever. Not that they're all schmucks, but from this poor person who is just said to call and follow up. And they don't even know what you do. They've not even stopped to look at your company or, why you would be interested in this product. Nothing. And I'm sorry, but I grill them. Like, why'd you call me? Well, I saw that you're interested in this. So what makes you think I'm interested? Well, you download a thing. Okay, well, I'm interested in the content. What do I do? Well, you're the chief revenue officer of the selling agency. No, but what does my company do? I mean, like, they just don't have any of those details. It is really rare that any of them have actually stopped and gone and gotten that information. They're just calling. They're just calling.
Well, what's really sad about that, and our dear friend Josh next week is going to talk to this too, but what's really sad about that is, these poor SDRs they're supposed to make 150 dials a day or something. I think that if they just had a little space to think, and I think they're probably pretty smart, but I think there's a model that doesn't support them in that. And, frankly, if you're in that kind of a model, I would encourage you to get out of that model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because first of all, that job is going to go away.
You're going to burn out, and you're probably, you'll either burn out or it will go away because it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah, or artificial intelligence is coming and it's going to take over those jobs. So, but if you will never earn a solid 6 doing that job. So what I want you to do is get yourself into an organization or into a role where you can start to develop mid-funnel. And now look, if you've got strong top of the funnel chops, you will always win the game as long as you get your mid-funnel and end of the funnel chops up too, because you gotta be a closer. And if your opening is bad, then I'm thinking that your closing isn't trained at all. So that's what I'm thinking. But
yeah, and also, just on another note on that too.
Yeah.
If companies are dying for people who can sell, will sell, and care to sell.
Yeah.
If you're in an organization when it's dial, no time for details, or go find an organization that will support you, because they're out there and they want you. They really do.
They do. And if don't think that there aren't a million jobs out there sales is the hardest job to fill right now. So if you've got any chops, you're getting yourself trained, you're listening to podcasts like this, you're like actually getting yourself trained, there are lots of opportunities. And don't stop looking until you find a really good one. And not to do shameless plugs, but I've got an entire series. There's 5 articles about how to find the right sales gig for you at theirreverentsalesgirl.com. And it comes from hard-earned experience. Yeah. But it will really get you in the mindset of, how do you find the right gig for you? So anyway, so back to cold calling.
All right.
One of the reasons that I think people hate being cold called, not hate cold calling, I think they hate cold calling for the same reason too, but people hate being cold called because they're not successful on the call. Do you know, Shawn, when was the last time that you got a phone call that they were like, hi, this is Dianna Garrett, the Reverend Sales Girl, and I'd like to talk to you about how I set appointments for your company, and do you have a minute right now?
Yeah, that happens. Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, how is that for you?
Yeah, it's an interruption, and you're right, I'm not expecting it, and what are you going to do with that?
And did you even catch my name? Do you know what the Reverend Sales Girl is? Do you know? When I'm calling you, I'm certainly interrupting at least a thought. You are not sitting around looking at the phone being like, who's going to call me? So you're interrupting a thought, and it takes a while for somebody's brain to kind of go, choo, 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 choo. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that somebody thinks when they pick up the phone is, who is this?
Right.
Do I know this person? Was I supposed to be on the phone call right now? Especially if you're calling someone around the top of the hour or the half of the hour, then it's probably like, oh my God, am I missing a phone call?
Right.
So as soon as they hear your name, make sure that, we'll talk about what the steps are. But the point is that people aren't successful on a call. And that's why they get frustrated by a cold call, because now they've felt unsuccessful. So
Right.
here's how to make your prospects successful on a cold call, which is what makes your cold calls a success.
I love this theory. I've never heard anyone talk about making your customers successful on a call until you brought it up. And I just can't wait to hear this. So spill it.
This is so funny. My phone's ringing right now, but I know who it is. Okay, so the first one, I have visual aids with this. The first one is cold calling prospect success. Tweet it out, yo. Say their name. Right?
Isn't that a song? Like,
I don't know. So if I pick up the phone, even if you say, hi, this is Shawn, you know, I'll say, hello. I'll either say, is this Shawn, if she hasn't said so, or I'll say, hello, Shawn. And here's why I like to do that is because everybody likes to hear their name.
mm-hmm.
And they like to know that, you know, it establishes that you got the right person on the phone, right? So right away, we're successful because we have identified that we've got the right person. I know your name. And you know, here's a little trick. If you have a name that's hard to pronounce, like you don't know what you're saying, what their name is, first of all, it's not a bad idea to kind of call when you think that they're not going to be there and listen to their voicemail because they'll say their name. Or there's a little thing that you can do on Google where you just say pronunciation of, you know, pronounce this name. And there's this whole site that's like name pronunciation where you can listen to it 3 or 4 times and practice their name before you get them on the call. So
I love that.
Yeah. So that's the first way to make them successful. The second way, this is really fun. You know that song, All My Exes Live in Texas?
Yes.
Anyway, the second piece to cold calling prospect success is, do they know you, right? So if I pick up the phone, the first thing I'm thinking about, like I said, is, who is this person? Is this my ex-wife calling? And who's on the phone? And if you don't know him, there's some really fun ways to do this. So if I picked up the phone and I called you and I said, hi, Shawn, this is Dianna. We haven't met yet. Do you know? And I go very slowly. This is Dianna. Your key is always go nice and slowly. When you go slowly, it indicates that you are in control. There's a reason for this. You're not trying to rush anything. I'll be like, Shawn, we haven't met yet. Or you don't know me. Or, you know, if it's somebody who kind of sounds like they're fun or, you know, there's something fun, you know, to be like sort of calling out of the blue here to interrupt your day. Do you know any way that you can kind of let them know that they're not expecting your call? Or the other thing is if your company is recognizable, right? So, hi, this is Dianna. I'm calling from Google.
Right. Well, you know, and I just want to pause on this too.
Yeah.
Going slow is very, very, very important. I think especially people who are not necessarily SDRs, it's their job to make these calls, but people like account executives who, you know, you've got account management plus business development. You know, a lot of them shirk that business development piece because it's nerve-wracking to call people. And so they get, hey, this is Shawn. They're hoping to just like get this mouthful in so that person doesn't hang up on you. But what you did right there, and I thought, how would I feel if someone called me and said, hi, Shawn, this is Dianna. You don't know me yet. Immediately, I'm intrigued. Immediately. Like, it would stop me in my tracks, honestly. You don't know me yet. That's a showstopper, Dianna. I want to make sure that everyone gets that. You don't know me yet because you're going slow and you are saying something that gets someone intrigued of, well, maybe I should know you. Well, maybe I'm going to know you. And you're not going so fast like you're desperate. I like that. Yeah.
Plus, doesn't it just give your brain time to adjust?
Yes. Yes. I think that's part of what, maybe this, I don't want to steal your thunder, but that's probably part of what would really help make your customers successful is giving them the time to process what you're talking about instead of trying to ram it down their throat past them, hoping that you can just get to the meeting or to the yes or the call or whatever.
Exactly. And I mean, people love this. Or if there's a halfway chance that somebody knows who I'm calling from, you know, like I'll say, let's just call it Aardvark Company. You know, I'm not going to talk about my clients, but hello, this is Dianna. I'm calling from the Aardvark Company. Or the person, you know, maybe they know the person that I'm trying to set an appointment for. So I'll be like, hi, this is Dianna. I'm calling from Shawn Carroll Sandy's office. And then I just be quiet. And I let them say the next words, you know, because they're processing. And it's either like, do I know Shawn? Or they'll say, uh-huh. Or they'll say, oh, yeah, great. You know, and either one of those react, or they'll say, what the hell do you want?
and you're going to get some of that, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And in those cases, I'll be like, oh, you may not actually be knowing who we are or interested at all in what I have to say. Yeah, I'm pretty much not. I got to go. And then you let them go. Do you know what I mean? Like, let them be successful on the phone. There are plenty of people that'll let you be successful. So anyway, with either of those reactions, you know, you kind of know where to go next, right? So, but then the next one is the most important part of a cold call. And you will hear people train you not to do this. And I will go to battle with them. You know, let's do a cold calling battle with the people that are doing this. But the next thing is the vampire rule.
Yeah, don't be a time suck.
What? Oh, that's a good one too.
Okay, tell me the vampire rule.
You know the story about a vampire. They can't hurt you. I mean, we're not trying to hurt our customers, but they can't hurt you unless you invite them into your house.
I've never heard that about vampires.
Yes. So the lore goes that unless a vampire can't do anything to you until you invite them across the threshold. So how this applies to your cold call is you don't get any of their time or attention or lovely feedback from them until you ask permission.
Right.
And what that looks like is, you know, can I borrow you for a minute? Can I have a minute of your time? Is this a bad time? Is this a good time? Any of those things are a way to ask permission to have a conversation with them. And I wouldn't say, you know, I just want to interrupt you for 20 seconds, or I just want to, you know, like, don't say something like that. Just say something like a normal human and say, like, I would call you, Shawn, and I'd be like, hey, it's Dianna. Can I talk to you for just a second? If you weren't expecting me, I would say that to a friend.
Right. Well, you know, if you get voicemail, that's one thing. But if they answer the phone, presumably they're okay. You know, they're okay for a hot minute. So asking permission, you know, say, you know what, I like to thank them for answering the phone. Like, thanks for picking up the phone. You know, I don't always get everyone to pick up the phone. I just want to take 2 minutes of your time and get to know you or whatever. I don't like to say take 2 minutes of your time. But yeah, just acknowledging that they answered the phone and that you do have that permission to proceed is really important. Otherwise, people feel like they're just it really would be like showing up at someone's door, showing up at their threshold, knocking on the door, and they open the door. You're like, "Hi, I want to go check out the kitchen," and you're just like,
right?
How rude would that be?
Yeah, you create so many more hurdles for yourself by doing something like that. You may have cleared one you may think you've cleared one hurdle, but I guarantee you just erected 10 hurdles behind you. So yeah, and it can be really simple. The thing that you got to remember too about these precious moments at the very beginning are just no fluff, right? So when somebody says to me, "Oh yeah, how are you?" I will say, "Great, thanks. Can I have a minute of your time?" The deadliest thing that you can do right then is ask them how they are, because that's not what the call's about. And you know, like it stalls out the whole call right away, right? So how are you is something that they'll ask you, acknowledge it, you know, "Great, thanks. Can I have a minute of your time?" Right? So then they say yes. But here's the thing, a lot of people are expecting a call, or they'll be like, "Oh, I thought you were in my doctor's office calling," or
right.
you know, or actually I thought this was the conference call that I'm supposed to be on. So sometimes just because they picked up the phone means that they're expecting something else. And here's what you do with that. Like, get off the phone.
Right.
You know, should I, maybe though, like, you know, now's really not a good time. You'll be like, "Is there a better time?" And they'll tell you, or they won't, or they'll say, "Send me an email," or, you know, anything like that. Honor their wishes. You know, there are people that will disagree with me, and Grant Cardone has a private jet and I don't, and he'll probably tell you something totally different. And so listen to him if you want the private jet, but don't listen.
Well, and so this is another really important point that I firmly believe, that people pay attention to the way you sell to them. If you are respectful of their time, if you are consistent, if you follow up, if you are persistent, it's so much, I mean, before you even talk about your product or what you're doing, they're paying attention, they're listening. You may not think they're reading your emails, you may not think that they're getting a response from your voicemail because they didn't respond back, but they're listening to it and they're forming opinions and they're judging you. They're judging, well, maybe if they call back, I mean, you sent me a nice email and a phone call and I have some continuity of experience of this person, I might pick up the phone, actually have a conversation next time. So rather than thinking that they're ignoring you, the way you sell to them with respecting their time and, gaining permission to cross that threshold means so much when it comes to the rest of the process.
Well, it does. I mean, especially if you're going to have a relationship with this human if you're selling them a magazine subscription, which I don't even know if they do that on the phone anymore, it's a one and done. And I guess, if you feel good about ramming something down somebody's throat and they kick down $8.28 a year so that they can get you off the phone, that's one thing. But one thing that I really love is one of my clients lets me listen to the recordings of her calls that I set up for her, so I can really get a sense of what she talks about on these calls. And almost always they start out the conversation by saying, Dianna was really lovely to talk with. So now all of a sudden they have this really good feeling about, or she left these really great messages. You really have got, and I love hearing that. But there's a longer relationship coming. They have a good feeling about the company, and they're more likely to have a good feeling about the company if they start doing business with us because I made them successful on the call.
And this whole process, and I know you have more to go, but this whole process.
Only one, so take your time.
Yeah, it takes time, thought, and effort. I sat with a recruiter yesterday who has some business development responsibilities, and she's never done this before. She was an accountant.
I admire her. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. And so, so we sat down and went through our pre-call planning worksheet. And then from that came up with some prompts, a script, not a tight script, but just some prompts. Well, here's how I'm going to introduce myself. Here's what a greeting I would say. If he says this, then I'm going to do this. And what's our goal? And, she's like, I've never done this before, and I really needed this. And it takes time. It does. It takes time and effort to be good. Which makes you great.
It does. But the thing is, the time and the effort really pay off. Because you feel so grounded and foundational in why you're calling somebody if you've done that work.
Yeah.
You know where the call's going to go. And here's the thing, the work that you do on that call is, it's just going to, if it doesn't work on that call, you've already done a lot of work that's going to work on another call. It's really great.
Yeah.
Kudos. That's really cool. All right. Number 4. And this is tricky. This is, you've got to practice.
A succinct request.
Make a succinct request. Look, your first call is probably not to close a deal. Know exactly what you're asking for.
Yep.
And if that is, an opportunity to talk to them about blah, 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 whatever it is, if it's a 20-minute conversation to talk about how you've helped XYZ of their competitors get an 11% return on certain pieces of work that they're doing, have a nice example, have a reason that you're calling them, offer them some value, right? It has to be something that occurs to them as an opportunity.
Yep.
Not just, can I put a call on the calendar for 20 minutes of your time? Look, their time is super precious. You better know, they better be like, this is irresistible to me. So you've got to practice your succinct request. I highly recommend that you record it, take a video of yourself asking the request a few times. And then once you make that request, I would like to, my boss liked to offer you a brainstorming session because you're using her research, and she thought that you could really make use of the 300 companies that she talks to on a daily basis to deal with the issue about blah, blah, blah. Was that an interesting conversation for you? People are so afraid to ask that question. Not like, when can we put it on the calendar? Is that interesting to you?
Right.
Who asks you that?
Right. No one. No
salesperson asks you that.
It's missing a step. When you go directly to asking for a meeting or another conversation, it's missing a step. It's missing that, is this of relevance? Is this of interest to you? And if it's not, then it's not necessarily always that they're shutting you down. You just have to pivot and maybe find something that is interesting to them or understand what would be interesting to them. It's just missing a step. I think most people miss that step. And I have asked many a salesperson before we get on a call and stuff, so what's their objective of this call? and their objective is, well, I want them as a new customer. No, that's a long-term objective. What's the objective of this call? Is it to introduce yourself and to get permission to be able to contact them? Is it to, introduce a reference and ask them if they would try something or get their email? We make decisions and buy in these little micro bites. We have we trust in little tiny increments, and that's how we have to sell. We don't make decisions and eat everything in one big bite. We don't say, okay, sold, I'm going to go for it and do this. And so not knowing, I think a lot of people pick up the phone and don't know what the objective of this call is. So I really like that.
It's so perfect. I mean, we won't go through, I do have an entire cold calling training, but one of the things you got to understand is, what is a yes? Mm-hmm. What is the yes that you got on this call? Is it, yes, I'll have coffee with you when you're coming by my office building next Wednesday? Is it, yes, I'm interested in pursuing a conversation, or, yes, I'll take your survey, whatever it is that is your yes, you got to know what your yes is. And it's not the sale. It's not the sale. But I love what you're saying, Shawn, is, people buy in increments, but people are successful on a cold call in increments too. Right. And I think a lot of people approach a cold call like it's a one thing, and it's not. There are at least 4 components. The first one is, do you know that you've got the right person? And do they know that does everybody on the phone know that you got the right person? The second one is, do they know who you are? And have you given them time to process that? The third one is, have you gotten permission to have a conversation with them? And the fourth one is, what is your specific request? And then they'll answer yes or no to that. So there's 4 ways that you can make people successful on the call. And here's another way to make people successful is they're going to remember your name now, the company name, because you've gone slowly with them and they've understood who you were and why you were calling. And if this isn't a good thing for them to do right now, thank them and go on to somebody who is interested, because they may be interested in the future and they'll remember your company now, and they'll want to engage. So that's my cold calling success. And, people can say, well, you got to get it done right away and you got to roll through those barriers, but I will challenge you. Let's do it. Come on. I will do a cold calling challenge against you any day of the week, and I will close more business than you do. You may set more appointments that don't show up. You may get somebody to say something yes for a minute that they don't do, but I will get more business.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let's review your notes real quick. So, cold calling success.
Cold calling prospect success. Say their name.
Do they know you?
Do they know you? This is the all my exes live in Texas step. That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee. The third one is the vampire rule. You must be invited across the threshold. And the fourth one is make your succinct requests.
I love it.
And that makes your person successful. I've had people that don't even say yes to my request, but they've really enjoyed being on the call with me and have even called me back and ask me, how did you do that?
I think that goes back to how you sell someone. They're paying attention, not to just what you're selling, but how you're selling. And selling is the first place you have to add value to your customers. The way you do it. You may not think that they're paying attention because they're not responding, but they are. They're taking it in. And if you do it right, if you follow Dianna's 4-step method to making your prospects successful, then you will be more successful in cold calling. I love it. Yeah. I love cold calling. My favorite is in person. Phone is great, but I just love the challenge of doing it in person. And these things, there usually have gatekeepers and other obstacles and challenges. Maybe we need to talk about that sometime. But it's just, I think it's an interesting way to go through life, meeting people, showing up, getting to know them, being, funny, being humorous, being sincere, authentic. And so I would hate to actually not be a part of cold calling. That just have everything served out to me. Well, that seems kind of like not so much fun.
No, and you may be sitting there watching this thinking, I'm not charming, I'm not, the thing is that those are learned, that's all learned. You can absolutely learn how to connect with people. I mean, if I were my real self, I would be sitting in front of the television like a hermit, not ever doing anything with anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not natural for me I'm an introvert, and I know it may not seem like it, but I am. Are you?
I am, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty close on the IE scale, but I'm an introvert, and that's just really about how you recharge your batteries, right?
Right.
In what your preferences are. Like girls' night out, I would rather take a walk in the woods. But I do love people, and I think people are interesting, and everyone's got backstory, everyone's got baggage and filters, and we can all connect with people at a very human level. Truly.
And we can learn. It's so something that you can learn.
It is.
If you just decide to go after the training of it, you can learn.
Yes, just 2 resources. If you feel like you need to be more, dynamic in your personality, Sally Hogshead, How to Fascinate, great book that taps into your internal stuff. And then I'm reading one too by Vanessa Van Edwards. Have you heard of her?
No.
She's a psychologist. She has a book that has some of the similar principles. It's called Captivate. I just got it. And so she really breaks down the psychology behind how to captivate people. So 2 resources.
What is it? Vanessa Edwards what?
Vanessa Van Edwards.
Vanessa Van Edwards. What's the name of the book? Oh, How to Fascinate. That's amazing.
Captivate.
How to Captivate. Oh, right. Sally Hogshead is Fascinate.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can get Vanessa Van Edwards on the show.
Maybe she's got a great YouTube channel. We'll start poking around her. All right, well, okay, so that is our solo topic for today, is cold calling success. I think the biggest takeaway is listen to Dianna's keys to set your prospect up to be successful. I think that's brilliant. No one else I've heard has talked about how to make your prospects feel successful, and enjoy the conversation. Get off the phone with a great feeling. I love that.
Yeah, I got a really big deal CMO on the phone yesterday, and he was in the middle of 500 different things, and he didn't say yes to my request. It was a really cold call, but he was very clear on why he couldn't say yes to it, and he thanked me for the opportunity to talk to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he'll remember us, and it just it's an opportunity to express your brand. But anyway, so yeah, you can tell this is absolutely one of my favorite topics and favorite things to do. But stay tuned for those of you that are watching. So this is the raw and uncut that's going to be released next week. But stay tuned, because I'm editing down the five strategies of selling during the summer. And I know that we're kind of coming into August, but I'm absolutely committed that even in August that this gets published, because it's really brilliant and it's super fun. And I think you're going to love the 5 sales strategies for summer. So that's on it.
Yeah. And they're good for holidays and all that kind of stuff too. So awesome. Well, this has been so great. I can't wait to go and just let the stuff marinate on my drive home today. I'm in Nashville, so I'm driving home today. All right, well, let's take us out.
Let's wrap it up. All right, so I will kick us out by saying, stop hoping
and start selling.
That's right.
Bye
everybody.